Senator Feinstein wanted a report so scathing that it would ensure that an un-American, brutal program of detention and interrogation would never again be considered or permitted. Now, that sentence, that motivation for the report, Chris, may show deep emotional feeling on the part of the senator, but I don't think it leads you to an objective report.
She has been fearless, she's been thorough and fair. And for this man to say that because she criticizes tactics led by General Hayden that was torture, she's being too emotional? I don't think so.
Former head of the CIA, General Michael Hayden, saying that Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Dianne Feinstein is harboring the wrong motivations for releasing the secret report dealing with enhanced interrogation techniques. They charge supporters of Feinstein and others charge that it was torture. Dianne Feinstein has said this: "I said on March 11th that the act of declassifying this report would ensure nothing like it happens again. To suggest that was the original motivation for the study is nonsense. The report itself is objective, based on fact, thoroughly footnoted, and I am certain it will stand on its own merits." The vote has happened to declassify this report. We're back with the panel. Chuck, thoughts?
Well, you know, frankly, everybody is pretty emotional about this issue, and everybody should be. This was a wrenching decision that went on in the Bush administration to entertain tactics like waterboarding, which, in my view, are torture, and to do that under, to stake the United States' reputation on that policy. We have, maybe it contributed, and I think perhaps did contribute to some progress in the war on terrorism, but we have to acknowledge we paid a price in terms of our reputation around the world, and I think people are emotional about it on both sides.
Jason?
There may be an objective report to be written about this program, but Senator Feinstein's report is not it. She started with a conclusion and then decided to build a case to support that conclusion. She did not interrogate any CIA officers involved in the program. This is like the Obama administration investigating the IRS scandal without talking to any of the conservative groups that were targeted. I mean, so I don't think this is an objective report. And I think, if this is going to be disclassified, then the CIA rebuttal should also be declassified and put out there so that people can look at both sides and make their own conclusion.
The head of the program under President George W. Bush at the CIA, Jose Rodriguez, who was in charge of operations, spoke out about this after the House Minority Leader had something to say about it as well.
Many people in the CIA are so patriotic. They protect our country in a way to avoid conflict and violence, etc. But the attitude that was there was very, I think, came from Dick Cheney.
I think that Dick Cheney is proud of it, but I mean, no disrespect, but Nancy Pelosi is not even telling the truth about being briefed on the enhanced interrogation program and on its use on Abu Zubaydah, and I know firsthand because I was the person briefing her.
He said he was the person briefing her. Charles?
Here we're dealing with a lot of post-facto condemnation in an atmosphere 12 years later when the threat and the crisis has passed, and not remembering at all the context 12 years ago when we all expected a second attack within months, and they had to sacrifice reputation. If they did sacrifice reputation and save thousands of American lives, it was a good bargain. But the hypocrisy here on the part of the Democrats, who are the author of this report, is astonishing. Porter Goss was the head of the House Intelligence Committee, and the ranking member was Nancy Pelosi. And here's what he wrote in the Washington Post. I think we have this. And he says that the chairs and the rank and minority members of the House and Senate Intelligence Committees, known as the Gang of Four, were briefed that the CIA was holding and interrogating high-value terrorists. We understood what the CIA was doing. We gave the CIA bipartisan support. I do not recall a single objection from my colleagues. Now, all of a sudden, 10 years later, everybody is aghast. This is Cheneyism. It is not. This was an appropriate response of a country that was attacked out of the blue, had no idea what to do, and had to immediately respond. And even if it didn't contribute to the war on terror, which I'm sure it did. But even if you concede that somehow in the end it didn't, there was no way to know at the time, and if you were in charge, you wanted to make sure that you erred on the side of gathering information, because the risk was to lose 3,000 more Americans.
Well, I think you gotta remember, Charles, part of what is supposed to be